Okay, it's 9 a.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. So we do have one major change. Karina Hoyer won't be here for the strategic plan update. And we will move that to the 15th, August 15th. Yeah.
I believe that's being rescheduled.
Finalized.
I haven't seen the time yet, but it sounded like everybody was available on that day, so.
So no time yet.
I haven't, I'm not sure what that time is, if it's been set.
No other changes as far as I know, but I'll entertain the motion to approve the agenda. It's just you and me.
I'll second I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda with approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 8th and approval of claims for July 22nd. Were there any questions about the claims or the minutes? There's none for me.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to public comment. There is no public in the room and I don't see any hands raised. We will have another opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting. General Manager's report. And today we have Kurt.
Hello.
Hi.
So Chris is at an engineering conference right now. The one thing I'd like to say is that yesterday we had another strategic plan meeting with the staff. I feel like that went pretty well. We had a lot of, took a lot of the input from the first couple meetings, and apparently there was input from the commissioners and Chris that was incorporated by Mal Foster. And so we kind of went over that and provided some more input on that. So I think that's moving along in that way. So we talked about the strategic goals and kind of methods of achieving the goals. So we kept moving forward on that.
Did you talk about like the vision and values?
We did talk about vision and values as well. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I guess there was, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but there was 4 specific value words that were chosen.
Okay.
And we discussed those.
I was just wondering about that innovation word, but we didn't want to use innovation.
There's safety, integrity.
Yeah, safety, integrity, adaptability, and service.
Service.
Were the 4.
Oh, adaptability is what, so,
I think so.
yeah, we were talking about.
Yeah, and
others.
the exercise was for staff to just list actions that they felt they would represent those. So like if you're leaning into that value, what action would you see yourself doing? And so each group listed those, and I think then those are gonna kind of be presented to you to see if it seems like they fit, if people could actually see themselves.
But they agreed with those values.
Yeah, they seem like,
Okay.
yeah.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah. It
Great.
that wasn't really the question.
Yeah.
Right. How would you action?
It was
those
more
values?
about, can you see your actions in these values and how would you translate that so that they were sort of trying to make sure that it was applicable to
Cool,
for staff. So then I think you'll get to see that feedback.
great.
How many staff were involved?
There's 9 of us. Well, 10 counted Chris, but he
Yeah.
kind of, because he had already provided a lot of feedback. He
Right.
kind of, he was there and he provided feedback at times, but he kind of sat back a little bit and let the staff put their input in. Because
Awesome.
apparently there's already been interviews with each of you commissioners and
Yep.
him as well. So like I said, he was there, threw some things in, but when it was like looking at those 4 value words, he kind of sat back on that. Let the staff drive that part.
Great. When is our next
Good.
meeting with Mal Foster? I don't even know.
That was the last that's gonna be staff incorporated. Now it's gonna be more, just now it's kind of commissioners and Mal Foster.
Or to you next.
I always think we
So-
call it Mal Foster, but it's Mal Foster along.
Alonji.
Yeah, they must feel
Alonji must feel left out.
slighted,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or you say MFA or like.
Yeah.
In any case, it seems like I mean, we've gone a bit off the timeline from, where things were laid out in the start and, um. Like, it feels like we have, like, with MFA, we've like barely started.
Yeah.
So. I'm just trying to get a better sense on like, just clarity around all of this and, and in the last conversation with Karina, it was, yeah, between like having these different consultants and then, I think it would be good to have clarity around who is leading the process? Cause it feels like there's a bit of like, okay, it's the consultants that are facilitating. We're kind of relying on Chris, management to schedule things, move things along, coordinate with them. But it's really like, I mean, the strategic planning is primarily our responsibility as commissioners, right? So that was just something, yeah, I mean, when Chris gets back, we can talk about it more, but I feel like we all feel like, it feels like everyone's a little lost.
Okay, so yeah, so we wanna know kind of first of all, when's the next meeting?
Yeah.
Kinda,
Next meeting.
kinda who's the driver of the.
Yeah,
And then
like-
also, and then, what was my third point gonna be is, what's maybe a kind of an updated timeline on things,
Yeah.
right? Cause
Yeah.
they had a schedule back in March or whatever it was, and kind of where that timeline sits now.
Mhm.
Yeah, do we need to agree on a timeline that's really gonna work and like, do we need to amend their contract or anything like that? But like, I'm questioning if we actually have enough time scheduled to really dive into some of the key questions with direction that we need time to just, discuss or debate or really come to agreement on, right? Cause there's, these big general things,
Yeah.
vision and values and, but yeah, like, I feel like I've kind of been, waiting to get into the meat of it, so.
The goals.
The actual goals, yeah.
Yeah, and tactics, like we haven't,
So I
Taking a
feel
bite out
like
of
my
that.
interpretation is that Karina is working on the vision and value,
Right,
and
yeah.
then that's kind of feeding into let's say MFA's game plan, correct?
Yeah.
And then, so I'll check in with Hillary at MFA and kind of try and get some feedback from her and pass it on to the three of you.
great. And Joseph, you have a question?
No question, but since we're discussing this and I've got you two here, it was scheduling wise, I believe from having spoken with Karina, the plan is for the 15th will be finalization of vision, mission, and values. Afternoons are better, correct?
Yes.
So if we were to start at 1 o'clock, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, that's what I wanted to confirm. I will email her today and get a timeline idea for length of time for that meeting, and I will respond to everybody as soon as I find that information out.
Great, thank you.
That's great, yeah, and I think that absolutely, we need to wrap up that process with Karina on the 15th. But yeah, I would like to, we have to meet with MFA in August, right?
I believe so, so.
Well, it
maybe
probably
just-
wouldn't be after the 15th though. But I
it would
can't
be-
speak.
we have to wait until,
I don't know if we have to, I'm just saying, it seems like
Right.
it would make sense to, but
well, if we,
I don't know.
The sense I got yesterday when Hillary wrapped up with staff was they presented to us goals based on the work that you all had done. Now I know that they're not necessarily finalized, but it was sort of based on conversation and so we then provided information about tactics and kind of got in, as you say, into the meat of how operations would carry out those things, right?
that's good.
And we sought some clarification on some of the goals. We're like, we're not quite sure what they're asking of us here. So there was some feedback from some staff of like, that feels a little unclear about what you actually want. So they're putting all that together to bring back to you. So I feel like they have kind of started to get into the meat of that and are preparing something to provide back to you. So I don't know the date of that, but Kurt will follow up, but I do feel like that is moving forward, if that's helpful to you to sort of
Yeah,
visualize.
so, wait, so the goal,
So there were,
what version of goals were shared with staff then?
there were six of them,
There were 6,
correct, there were 6 strategic goals.
okay.
And so.
Yeah, and I don't recall them exactly, off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what they said, but. So, and yeah, the impression was that came from work that you all did, so.
Yeah, that was the impression I got, that there was at least
Yeah.
some input from the commission on those 6 goals.
Yeah, they were shown to us, there was like they were shown to us and we gave feedback and workshopped and stuff, but I don't, like, if I haven't seen like what they came back with and then.
Yeah, it would be helpful to have like information from MFA.
Okay.
Like, cause they have all of these documents and we've been told multiple times that they'll share the documents and we've not seen it. None of them have come into my email. But like, if they have identified 6 goals and we're working on tactics, like it would be nice to sort of see that work, to see, just an update.
And I think
Yeah.
that's their,
Yeah.
I think that's their plan now.
Yeah.
That's their
I'll get an
next-
email off of Hillary today,
Yeah, okay,
try and get some info back to you.
yeah.
Okay.
Even before, yeah, cause it'd be nice to see that before we meet, so.
Right.
Well, when the meeting for us, they have been providing, at least for staff, they've been giving us information beforehand to kind of
Oh, good,
review a little
okay.
bit. But like I said, I'll get an email out today and.
Yeah,
as soon as
great.
She gets back to us. She was on vacation and now she's back, so I know that
Okay.
she's
That hard to go on vacation.
Hmm.
It is,
Yeah, right, no,
because then you have to play catch up for like, that's rough.
but it's not, okay, but so right now, if we don't have something on the books, then it's not till after our next regular meeting, at least, so, right, yeah.
And then, I don't think that Hillary knew yesterday when she left. She may have, but she may have not, that Karina wasn't gonna be here today, like. That was the planning at the time, and then that kind of changed really last, like, kind of at the end of our meeting, or
Right.
even after our meeting.
At the end of the day.
At the very end of the day, so Hillary might not know that Karina wasn't gonna be here today.
Mhm.
She might have been kind of feeling that was part of the process.
Right, of course, yeah, I think we all were, right?
Yeah, we all-
Commissioners, if I may, as somebody is the person who's kind of been doing some of the background scheduling, when I talked to Karina yesterday and found out she was going to make it, I had asked her if she had spoken with Hillary and company to try to, for lack of a better term, get a drop dead date for when her piece needed to be done for this, and she had heard nothing. And so I think, to somewhat answer your question, this is all still in influx. So that's why the 15th was able to be done. I think Chris is wanting to get steps moving so that we can have these finalization meetings for the whole process, is my understanding in talking with him as well. So
Okay, great. Is there anything else for the general manager's report?
Well, no news is good news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I suppose you'll also be giving the operations
Yeah,
report?
I will. So you may have noticed here at the plant new admin, we've been doing some mowing of the tall grass out in the back. And so we've mowed the intake road, as well as we're working on they might even be done mowing the electric transmission line underneath there, keeping all the trees and grass down. We don't have to mow the entire 14-mile line because some of the private owners hay their own fields or just do things that don't require us to do that, but
Mhm.
we've been working on that. Actually doing a bit of exterior painting at plant 1. I know we're doing a lot of work towards replacing it, but we can't just let it fall in on itself, so we're not painting the whole facility or anything like that. We're just painting some of the walls that are facing the roadway and facing the basins and stuff like that, so doing some painting over there. D station is still moving along. That's a really big project, so that's still happening, and that's all I've got for operations.
Great. Questions? Nope, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to old business with a broadband update. Would that be you, Andrew?
Kurt.
That's you, Andrew.
There's no, big update on broadband front. The, WISBO, benefit of the bargain round applications are due tomorrow at midnight, so we're working with local providers to either resubmit or recycle, previous, applications or submit their new ones. So that's all in flux right now, and our role in all of this is supporting the Port of Bellingham and the, provider relations for a successful, application. So that'll all be wrapped up by the end of the day.
Is there any update on what's going on with Point Roberts? And I only ask because they had a town hall recently where Denny Heck and Sharon Shoemake were there, and I guess that a lot of the conversation and Joe Timmons was around getting broadband. Any update on our project?
Sure, what I can tell you is, we completed the high level design, so we had, a design for where we would place infrastructure either aerially or underground. And we took that information and we went through a required process through our funding agency, which is tribal consultation and DAP consultation, and we had that consultation. And out of that review, there were some recommended changes to the overall design, so we're going back to the drawing board to accommodate DAP and the tribe's request for staying outside of known archaeological areas, so on and so forth. So we're right now, you'll hear for the last couple of times we've met, you've heard us say there's really no update, and the reason for that is because we're waiting on our contracted engineering firm to provide us an updated design based on that feedback from the consultation.
Okay,
And once we get that design back here in the next few weeks, we'll be able to revisit that conversation with DAP and the tribe and the state broadband office, and basically say, does this now accommodate what you're all what you're looking for? We think it will, and then we'll be able to move forward with other parts of the project, and you'll hear us more back on track to more of a project management update
okay,
from there, which will include things like resubmitting PSC full attachments, because we did that, and with the design change now we need to resubmit those packages. Things like that, finalize environmental review, lots of just your regular infrastructure processes before we go to construction or go to bid for construction.
right.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. It's also frustrating. I mean, I know it's frustrating for everybody, for them, for us.
Yeah.
The whole process is just exhausting.
Yeah, I've been also hearing, about the, disappointment coming from Point Roberts community, and, a lot of folks are still, they're looking to us to get this done. And, I know that, there's challenges in the timeline and doing all that. So, updating and resubmitting these plans and the applications, and how long do you think that process will take once we get an engineering report back to get the consultation and all of that approval?
So I think the consultation will be pretty swift after we have an updated design, and I don't anticipate any kind of extended delay from DAP or the tribe, because we will have met what they've asked us to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I'm still optimistic that we'll get this project out to bid, and we'll get a portion of the project constructed like we discussed previously.
Yeah.
Because we're removing the all underground and to accommodate
Right.
these requests that we received during our consultation. So yeah, I think at that point we'll be able to move pretty quickly. So to answer your question, if we're in a month time frame from our design, I think then maybe a couple weeks from there to set a date for a consultation. And then maybe a week or two follow up from there.
Mhm.
And then we'd be able to move on to the next steps of the project.
So putting the bid out.
No, that will be to next step would be to finalize environmental review.
Right.
Of the project and then resubmit PSC full packages.
Right. Awesome.
Do you know what I would love? I mean, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything, but I would love to have, so someone asked me. How hard is it to just string some wires up and get these people broadband? And I'm like, well, it's actually super hard. But if we had like the steps, cause you're like, you know, all of these steps, like you've got them all in, well, you gotta do this, and then you gotta do this, and then you gotta, and like, this is the timeline for each of those steps. Like, so when people ask us, how hard is it just string some, you know, wires up and get these people broadband, we can say, well, here's the process, and it's
Kind of an
tedious.
outline of
Yeah.
what the steps are.
Yeah, and well, cause we can't, I feel like, sometimes legislators don't know what that process is either. And so we can't fix the process or streamline the process unless the people who created the process are aware of what the hitches in the giddy up are, right? And there's some significant hitches in the giddy up that's keeping that from happening. So like, I think a timeline and like of the process would be really helpful to show people.
Does that include the financing and grant application process?
Yeah.
I mean, if you really go.
Start to
through that,
finish, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps at some point I could work with Andrew to sort of get that information from him and get put together a timeline of the project.
Yeah,
As he's gone through it, each of the steps, each of the delays and what they've been and how, you know, just sort of, you may already have some of that.
We do, there's a public facing project management, what I call a project management resource on the PUD's website. Under the broadband program, and there's a timeline spelled out for each step in the process, as well as a Gantt chart that is a living document. Because of some of the challenges we've been facing, that's needs, you know, will be updated. But you can go there to see where we are in the process and timeline, what budget has been expensed unaudited, of course. And so you can see as much as really as what I see. So anyone can see that right now. And I believe we sent out a link early on after that had been created. So if you don't have that, we can send that out
yeah,
again.
I don't think I have that. Also, if it was just like in a PDF, like if it was just something that was, we didn't have to search the website for, that we can present to. I was specifically asked that question by a legislator. And about like, why can't we just, you know?
Why is this?
Yeah, and so
Just say you're a legislator.
well, there,
Is
you
there
know.
legislation you passed?
No, but do you know what I like? It's something that's like easily just forwarded that people don't, I mean, I would love, yeah,
Maybe a single page, this is the timeline that we've experienced so far.
Right.
And this is our
yeah,
projected potential timeline based on.
right,
Right here.
of what we know now, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can send a link for sure, but I just want it to be super easy for some of these people that need some easy stuff.
Yeah, the project management resource is just, I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to drill down into the specific challenges that we're facing. But I know that there was a white paper sent out by Chris that explained what the very specific challenges are that we're facing with this project. And that was sent out to our legislative representatives, leadership at the county, the board, and all the commissioners here at the committee. So it's probably where this legislator had followed up with your conversation,
Yeah.
just speculating, but so we have tried to be as transparent with this project as possible. And what those delays are and why they're occurring and what we're gonna do about it, which results in a significant reduction in the overall project and scope.
Yeah. Now's our time to shine. Shine a light on how long it takes to get a project done, right? Like.
Well, anywhere else, like Point Roberts, I think we would have had this.
Yeah,
discussion already
yeah.
and be having
Yeah,
a ribbon cutting.
But but construction in 2026 is what we're headed for, right?
Is likely, yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna get
right.
as much of the project done as we can by end of December 2026.
But it'll be underway at the very least, yeah, like that's that much is it just can we get it done by the end of the year, right? Would be the.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
pending any additional cost from PSC make ready and any additional permitting required. To account for the gap and. Right.
Yeah, there's these variables that we aren't determined yet.
Yeah, that's always the variables, the changing targets.
Right,
You know, Andrew, submits something and then everybody looks at it and then they send it back, and then when you say resubmit it, and then you resubmit it, and then the criteria has changed, so.
Well, another example, just, since we're on this topic, we selected a archaeologist and a firm off of this state DAP's preferred, or not preferred, but their list of vendors. And we were told during our consultation that we needed to find a new archaeologist.
why?
So the state list person was not acceptable.
Delumbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we chose-
So there's these things that are happening where it's completely outside of, in my opinion, the PUD's control. And
Right.
we would not have had the foresight to know some of these challenges that are coming up. And so
Wow.
what we do about it is we work through them
Yeah, yeah,
to accommodate and get something done.
And that company has since adjusted some of its key players and may be more acceptable now to the Lummi, but we don't know. And so there's the whole question of where do you push the rock?
Exactly. Awesome.
wow.
Politics.
I know, I feel like a book could be written on
Sure, it has good.
the case of Point Roberts. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Andrew.
An adjudication update.
Just say we had a case standing update with the court on Monday. We expect an extension of the stay, shortly. Expected that order out last week, so I expect it this week. We're working on our proposed rules. The other thing I would mention is that the county is working on its draft coordinated water system plan. And we've reviewed that, and we think that there's an omission of addressing the PUD's water service to Cherry Point, our potable and non-potable services, throughout the plan, and that, or any discussion about our county-wide service area, both jurisdictionally and for our water rights. And so we think that county coordinated water system plan could be improved in that way. So we have a letter we've drafted, and that's what I was asking about Chris's availability to sign the letter later this week. If not, I can sign it or Kurt can sign it. So, that'll be going out at the end of the week. It's due by Monday.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah,
Nope. Okay, moving on to geothermal. Anything on geothermal? Still waiting on
BLM.
forestry, or is it BLM?
Yes.
Okay. Man, what a process.
It's gonna be a long process.
It's super unique to like this area too, right? Like, aren't other areas getting permits a lot faster or leases a lot faster?
Well, what I can tell you is that there was another consent to lease or nomination of lands for geothermal leasing that was submitted to BLM after ours, and that one has already gone to public bid and auction and has been wrapped up. You can find the results of that information, at BLM, but I won't go into more detail in there because we'll need to have conversations later about what we want to do when a potential lease comes up for ours. But those are some of the things that we're noticing, and we reached out to BLM about that and why ours has not gone through, or what the holdup is, or just trying to get any kind of information about where the status of our nomination. And we just, it's not silence, this is it's a process, and we'll get back to you. I mean, just to kind of summarize.
So who do I yell at though? I mean, that it's insane.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just, what can you do about it?
I don't know.
Best thing we could do is if we wanted to hire some lobbyists and go down to
Yeah.
DC and start rattling BLM's cage and administration, federal
Yeah.
administration. I mean, but that's gonna be tens of thousands.
Right, which is,
And the timeline is not collapsing really, this is a long extended project, but we'll have the pre-feasibility study wrapped up by the end of this year. And at that point, we'll be ready to move into the feasibility study, which will require test drills to be dug and significant dollars appropriated to this project to get through the feasibility stage. So we're at this point where, you know, acquisition of the land is really important, and to move the project forward, we need these nominations to go through, which seems to be a priority of this administration. So we're kind of at staff level wondering why this isn't moving forward sooner.
Well, and the state legislature provided us money to do this pre-feasibility study. You would think that they would be excited about us getting a lease. Okay.
There may be a reason though, right?
Not one that they're sharing,
one
yeah.
they're sharing, not one they're telling us.
These are all lands that have already gone through the scrutiny of environmental review, and we've just renominated those lands.
Right, I just mean like, could it be because is someone else competing for that lease?
It would be, no, well, they could, but it'd be through a public auction.
We would know.
We would know after the end of the auction, yes,
Yeah.
if we were the highest bidder or not. And that process has not yet begun.
Has not, okay, but just to get to that step. We're just waiting on BLM.
Yes,
Yeah.
BLM checks in with the Forest Service for our nominated lands to ensure that they pass mustered on the environmental review. Forest Services to BLM, these do, BLM then goes through the process of an online auction and setting up those parcels for land leasing.
So if somebody else was interested, they could bid at the auction, yeah.
They would,
Yeah.
they would also.
Nomination
yeah.
also.
Yeah,
Holding it up, yeah.
yeah, no, I understand I get that there's publicly no apparent reason to hold for it to be held back. It just makes me wonder what else might be going on, or if it's just, is this just because of they don't have someone at the desk over there?
But that doesn't explain how the other person who came in later got theirs returned.
Same desk.
Right,
Right.
yeah,
Same
Yes,
desk.
they're in the same office. Yeah.
right, that doesn't, yeah.
I think the next action would be to get a lobbyist. We've used Scott Hazelbrook, I think, for
Yes.
some things, and
That's
he's
great.
still under contract.
He's not retained any longer, but he was a civic group, I believe is his
Yeah.
outfit's name.
Yeah,
I concur, we should.
yeah, it would be to contact someone like that, or maybe he knows someone who's got lobbying contacts with BLM or the feds and
I think that's a
get
good
him
idea.
to, get them to see what they can do. That'd be the next step. So I guess, for the next commission meeting, it might be what would be the proposal. And he might be under Chris's contracting authority for a small job like this. I'd have to go back and look at the delegation authority, but though, that would be the next I think the next action, if you want to try to rattle a cage, move things along.
Yeah, I mean, Chris was in DC just a few months ago. At first that would be to going through, the associations that were part of like PUD that have more direct line already into DC. I would, yeah, definitely like value your recommendation on a lobbyist. It is, that is an expense, and I do wonder what, like, how effective is that with?
I
Incredibly
think it's, I
effective.
think it's kind of calling someone like Scott and saying, okay, who's the contacts? Because it's not talking to the other legislative officials or or Murray staff person, it's who at BLM, the
Yeah.
deputy director, in
Yeah.
charge of, okay, let's talk to that person, get them to have the assistant to the deputy director, pull the file off the desk and move it. It's kind of getting down the chain of,
Yeah.
It can be
Staff.
incredibly effective.
Because they know, yeah, they know. So this person would know they would know
find out,
how to get
find
through
out who
BLM.
and then who to get into, and, that's how I think the lobbyists would work. For my 2 cents, so.
So is that something we wanna,
It's something that I would be interested in following through with, because what we've been trying to do isn't working. I mean, we've been talking about this project for years.
I think you should talk to Chris, see if he's got anybody else in mind, what, if he wants to make the phone call to Scott, get a scope of budget, figure out if it's under Chris's contracting authority, if it is, he can make the call.
Yeah,
If not, it comes back on the 12th. For you to look at.
I'm comfortable using lobbyists. We used them at the city of Blaine, and it worked out well for us. to do that.
yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, in the scheme of all
all
Yeah.
expenditures, it's probably not. you know,
Yeah, and I think it probably is under Chris's contracting
Yeah,
authority.
if he has the authority
Yeah,
to delegate
yeah.
this, but it's probably, you're not probably speaking for initial outreach and testing of where
Yeah.
the opportunities might be, it's probably less than $5,000,
Yeah.
maybe 2,500.
Oh, really?
And Chris has some Scott has familiarity with the PUD as you've used him in the past on things,
Mhm.
civic group.
Yes, yeah,
Wait, so that wouldn't even
What's his
require
name, Scott
our approval?
Yeah.
Hazelbrook?
yeah. So I help facilitate this contract. Yeah, we can talk.
I just don't recall offhand that type of professional agreements in his, Chris's delegation authority or not. I have to go back.
There's like a threshold amount for that though, right?
Two things. Has the commission delegated for that type of work?
yeah.
And then if it is that type of work, what's the threshold? If the
Yeah.
threshold, it's gonna be 5,000 or more, most likely. So if you
Okay.
delegated it, you'll have the authority to do a small contract.
I see. Let's check on that.
Yeah, we'll check on it and. Okay, moving on to new business. With action 1, approve the 2025 plant number 2 West Settling Pond cleaning project to Interwest Construction.
As you know, we have 4 settling ponds, waste basins, as I was calling them, 2 at each plant. And we clean at least 1 a year, and this is just part of our regular annual maintenance. Actually, the Interwest bid came in pretty good. It was much lower than we, had budgeted for the project based on, previous year's costs.
Like that.
I'd just like to request your approval for the work.
So you're happy with this new?
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's the pond right over there,
Yeah, there's 2 over there, and there's gonna be the one actually nearest to the plant.
that one.
Good.
Cool, I love to see things come in under budget, so, I'll move to approve.
Okay. I will second the motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Alright,
Great, thank you, commissioners.
All right, now commissioner reports. I don't have much to report. I attended Wapuda online. I was hoping to make it down there on Friday for the board meeting, but I did not. Nothing super exciting for me at those meetings, I don't think. That's it for me. What you got?
yeah, I got, I guess just general report out here, need to go too deep into any of it, but, yeah, kind of been a busy month. You know, we had our Wapuda meetings last week, in Mount Vernon, making the drive back and forth. So I attended, the government affairs and energy committee and the board meeting. And, also what was really cool was the tour of Helion Energy facility, Helion Energy's facility in Everett.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll, yeah, just briefly on that, it was pretty impressive. Just, it's just to, kind of, ground truth, get a picture of what's going on beyond what you just can read about. And, I learned a few things, just, one, just like the scope of their operation. I mean, it's a pretty big, factory building. They have 525 employees. And it seemed largely like a very youthful staff. Yeah, a lot of young folks kind of like early in their careers coming on. And I think like the vast majority of them actually, you don't have to have advanced degrees or technical background. There's all kinds of jobs needed for the operation. So it actually is a pretty good, like more entry-level workforce opportunity for folks down there. For a research facility that's running entirely on, $1 billion of venture capital, and is, a long ways away from, generating a return. It's, I've heard a lot of buzz and skepticism about, what they're doing and is it worth it? But, it does seem to me like regardless of whether, they can follow through with their aims in the time frame, they're moving the ball forward. So, we were able to see, the actual,
the Trenta machine that was able to, that, you know, demonstrated 100 million degrees Celsius temperature generation from the fusion reaction, and didn't see it, but they're working on their Polaris. Their next project, which they should run the experiment in just a matter of a few months, aiming to show a net positive electricity generation and demonstrate that before moving into building a 50 megawatt power plant in Chelan. So all that was it was pretty neat, yeah, just to see what they're doing. And you know, so much of, you know, the cutting edge of this the advancement of this technology is happening right around here, you know, in Western Washington, in Washington State. Yeah, just really, you know, excited to see what happens with that. You know, we don't want to, you know, it's not, you know, who knows until they actually do it, you know, do it and prove it. But yeah, there seemed to be there's a lot of excitement and interest among the commissioners, and a lot of confidence from, you know, the folks that showed us around. So yeah, I don't know, any questions about that, or I'm curious?
Too bad Chris isn't here to grill you on what you
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. I think has he not? I think he might have toured it before.
I think he has,
Yeah, he
yeah.
has, yeah. Yeah, and you know, I'm sure he would have seen a lot of things that I wouldn't, having that engineering background, but.
So was it a very large structure inside of a very large building that you walked around, or what kind of?
It's like a big factory warehouse.
Okay.
I mean, it felt like a similar square footage, maybe not as big as like, I've toured, like when I toured like, the Silfab solar manufacturer down in Burlington, like I think that was probably bigger, but it was like one of, you know, it's a big operation. They have what's interesting also is in most of what they're doing, they're using, and I think in like their design approach, they're trying to do everything with as much as possible with readily available material.
Okay.
Right. So like most of what you see in there, you can get at Home Depot, you know,
Interesting.
and most of the actual, you know, work that's being done is just, you know, it's just yeah, it's basic stuff. But they're manufacturing these like, you know, what are they called? They're like spools of metallic film that they're making, and they're providing to some other companies as well, just as like a simple thing. But there was I mean, we didn't see everything in the facility. I think there was a lot more in the compound actually than we saw, but it was you know, got a little look at it. And
So did it seem like you were in 1950s NASA or something like that, with the off the shelf materials and just kind of just.
I don't think it was as cool as you probably think it was.
yeah, it didn't feel like futuristic or anything.
Oh, okay.
That's
Like,
what I want it to be
I mean,
too,
but I mean, what they are doing is so advanced, like, and it's, you know, these breakthroughs in, like, I mean, you need like very, very precise pulsing. Like you have to, like, I mean, they have to be you know, firing at like a millionth of a second precision, or the reaction won't work, right? And so just like the honing of that, both, you know, software and hardware side of things, and the fact that they're able to now do that successfully, and is and you know, they're all also, you know, the whole, you know, it's all geared around how can we do this and make this an affordable design overall.
So you can have a lot of the power plants at some point later.
Right, yeah, to scale it, right, and yeah, and
When were they thinking Chelan might come online?
2028
Oh,
is actually the goal, yeah, and so yeah, it could be by the end of the year, I'd say they can prove that they can do it, and then it would be moving into building this power plant. Yeah, 50 megawatt commercial power, and that they clarified that would be the net. That would be the net generation.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think actually generating more than that, but you know, they're, yeah, evened out for the power it consumes. So
How long has Chelan been waiting for this?
Chelan,
Just curious based on our experience.
well, that it's, the tech sector moves a lot faster than
Yeah.
regulated utilities and government agencies.
You build a big building and then just do everything inside of it, and nobody knows.
There you go. There you go. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know Chris is very excited about Fusion, he's always sending us articles and updates on it. and,
Always.
I know I hear a lot of, also research I do and, a lot of rightful skepticism, right? A lot of folks wonder like, what, are they really gonna deliver on these, you can't like trust a promise, are we really gonna be generating, the first ever commercial fusion power in 2028? It's like, that'd be an enormous step, but I'd say if this reaction, if Polaris is successful, I mean, I think that's gonna be world-breaking news. That they've crossed that step, electric, like energy positive electric generation, so that's, it's kind of, just wait and see, it's exciting though. And to have that connection there, and of course, like, they want, they're a company that's probably looking to expand and they want, utilities to sell power to, right? So, it's something interesting to explore in.
So should we
Maybe
start
they're not.
looking for land to buy to put one in?
Let's maybe
No?
a future agenda item, but, it's, I think, I'd defer to Chris's judgment on when's the right time to make moves, but, if whether or not, however things go, it's geothermal, I mean, it's, that could be an opportunity.
I always wanna buy land.
Or if, not say us do it, right, not us doing it, we could, be the utility provider through another entity that builds a plant, right, so. That, it's, and yeah, I could see them very likely, they're very likely to be folks looking to come to Whatcom County with that.
Well, we need something on the coastline, right? We need something on
Yeah,
the
west
side
of the
of
Cascades.
them. Yeah. That's a need.
I agree.
Yeah.
It'll take us 5,000 years. But we live.
Yeah, it's future, I mean, maybe future's closer than we think. It's, but I was, I guess sort of on that note, I'm kind of all over the place here in my update.
That's okay.
But I do have Energy Northwest board meetings next week. I decided to just attend them virtually, and so it's gonna be all day Wednesday, and there will be just a lot of discussion about governance structure going into a conditional approval process for the new nuclear small modular reactors. And in which case, like in state statute, it lays out that the board of directors of Energy Northwest would assume greater responsibilities during that interim between a conditional approval and a final approval. And take on more of the responsibilities that normally the executive board has. And so there may be the possibility of, the board of directors that I'm the delegate for us on. We could potentially delegate back to the executive board, or just assume more. It would mean I'd go to more meetings and get more briefings and such. So, that's just the discussion that's gonna be had. There was a focus group with some commissioners I didn't make, but I'm catching the recording of, and I had a phone conversation with Ian's staff about the subject while he was kind of just like, dropping a line to different commissioners to see what they think. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm on the side of like, I don't think we need to delegate authority. I think it's fine for us to, there's like a reason that it's laid out in law that way, and to have more scrutiny and oversight, to kind of, to a certain extent, you want to put a check on path dependency around the insight that have been so invested in something, and make sure that it really is the way, the right thing to pull the trigger on. And so also be coming up and figuring out with the conditions that need to be applied in the conditional approval process. More going then into, it's the October meeting where that vote will happen. And yeah, so I'm gonna go out to Tri-Cities in October I went in April, I decided, I'm definitely gonna go for that vote in October, but, just between everything else going on. Yeah, I'm just gonna save the long drive this time, but be paying close attention. And yeah, they're not gonna be, sounds like there's not gonna be too much of the details of the actual project, it's mostly just gonna be
Mhm.
talking about how we're, just our. Our management process, so. Yeah,
Are you our government relations delegate now, like on Wapuda, are you the committee member? See, I can't remember, I thought I was, and then they took a vote and they were like, oh, you don't get the vote, and I was like, oh, okay, that's weird.
yeah, actually, let's talk about Wakuda, a little more, there's.
Yeah.
Can we check? Cause
Yeah.
I know we did assignments at the beginning of
Yeah.
the year, and it feels like, there's been a lot of meetings where. Yeah, like more than one of us is present, and then it's like, wait, which one of us is the actual officially?
Right,
or
right,
just-
I
or
was
is
fairly
just-
certain that I was,
uh,
but they didn't let me vote.
I think that, I thought, so in the meeting on Friday, I thought that I thought that you were
I am on the board of directors.
you're the board of directors, and I was just there watching.
Yeah.
But
uh-huh.
for the government affairs, I think you are also, and I'm the alternate.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Were you in?
Did they let you vote?
Were you in the meeting?
I was, yeah.
Okay, I think that was maybe, I don't think I voted. I think
Oh.
wait, did I?
I have no idea.
Did you-
That
maybe
they
didn't
just,
like
I
that.
said
Yeah.
that I was present for the vote, and they're like, oh, Jamie's here, and then they're like, oh, well, you're not you don't get to vote. And I was like, oh, okay, so I don't know who voted for us.
And they didn't say who that, no, okay, we'll follow
Well,
up.
no, you were, okay, so for government affairs, yeah, I wasn't sitting at the table, I was like in
Yeah.
the side in the back, I didn't speak during that meeting, so
Okay.
I was just, I didn't think I was the.
Well, we'll just verify who is and who isn't, and then if something comes up again, we'll be like, actually,
We'll
yeah,
find out and report
Yeah.
back to you.
thanks.
And then there was, there was like, there was communications.
Which is, they meet at the same time. Government relations and communications are the same group. Yeah, Joseph.
All right, you guys ready? I can tell you exactly what we decided on that I sent to Wapuda at the beginning of the year.
Cool.
So, Washington Public Utility District Associations, committees and district designees. Board of Directors is primary representative is Jamie, alternate is Eddie. Managers Committee is Chris, alternate Kurt. Government Relations is Jamie is the primary, Eddie is the alternate. Communications Committee, Jamie, you're primary, Chris is alternate. Energy Committee, Eddie is primary, Atul is alternate. Water Committee, Atul is primary, and Eddie is alternate. Telecom Committee, Atul is primary, and Andrew is alternate. And that is what I submitted to Wapuda.
Wait, what was the last one before telecom?
Water.
Wait, sorry, I'm not the alternate for that. Right?
Yes, that's what was decided in.
Okay.
So Jamie is primary, I'm the alternate for water.
No,
Water is Atul is primary, and you were alternate.
Atul is water.
Yeah, I thought I was water.
I thought you were water too. Okay,
Yeah.
Atul is water. I'm the alternate. Okay.
Yeah, that
Either,
was weird.
yeah,
I'm water on everything usually.
yeah, cause I thought you were like our
Yeah.
point on water. Okay, thanks for clarifying that all for us, Joseph.
So based on
Right.
our list, it sounds like Jamie should be able to vote. shouldn't it?
So Joseph, we can follow up with, I'm not sure if it would be Nina, but with, somebody at Wapuda and let them know that Jamie wasn't allowed to vote and.
Oh, it was,
No, but just,
yeah.
we wanna verify moving forward that we have that correct and that they have our correct list.
Okay, yeah, let me make that note. Jamie, what was it so you were at the Wapuda meeting, and what committee were you? You had attended the Communications? Oh, the government relations, and they wouldn't let you vote. Okay.
But Jamie was virtual there.
Yeah.
Which I think is where some of the confusion was, and Atul and I were in the room, and it's possible that I made a mistake when I signed in on the sign-in sheet
Oh,
and didn't clearly write that I was not
that you
like I
were.
signed into the
Yeah,
meeting, but
yeah.
I needed to, yeah.
I have a feeling it's not Waputa's fault. I have a feeling it's our fault.
It could be my fault that probably if I signed in and didn't write
Yeah.
alternate or something.
Yeah,
And then, yeah.
They would have assigned the vote, yeah, to you.
That could have been it, yeah, so
But
I
this
was-
is good, because I thought that I was on the water committee, so.
I'll tell you what I'll do, commissioners, is I will send you the approved minutes from the January 14th meeting, and that has all those assignments and designees and everything else in it. So you guys can have those copies for your records.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
in which case, I'm sorry about that.
No, I mean, that's fine. It's not.
Yeah, I think it is also, we need to get some clarity on like, if more than one of us are present at that meeting, like my understanding is like only one of us could speak in a meeting on any particular topic. Right, but it is fine for all of us to
To be
there.
there, yes. Mhm.
But I think we need to, between us, make sure it's clear who is the delegate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and so, yeah, on that note, Senator Schumake, was the guest, you know, at that government affairs committee meeting. And came in, you know, presented and did a Q&A with commissioners. You know, I don't know if I've public comments to share on that, but just that, you know, noted that she came, and where there's been, you know, some you know, it was kind of notable, like, you know, Waputa's concerns to the, you know, transmission bill that she introduced last session and all of that. You know, she is engaging with Waputa. We talked about that more in the energy committee a bit, where, you know, Waputa's just still against the idea of, you know, creating a watchdog for transmission, and as I would summarize it, and they're pushing to get amendments and fixes into it, and trying to work through that in the interims. They don't think it, you know, they think it's still likely to pass. There are some other bills that are in the works that we discussed, framed around ensuring grid reliability. There is one that's, you know, they haven't come out with a draft of, but they brought up, and I raised some concerns about, in that it would be a pretty big, potentially pretty big exemption to Clean Energy Transformation Act compliance in, after 2030, to, you know, waive, you know, fines for generating more than 20% above, more than 20%, gas power in cases of where it was necessary to keep the grid running. That's one, you know, I've been talking more with the PUD staff and commissioners about. You know, I'm just I think engaged in more conversation about, because partly just because I want to ensure that Waputa's use it, like Waputa's not letting their traction slip and like lobbying for things that are not going to be palatable or not going to, and, you know, they were saying like, oh yeah, it may not be, and it's just a messaging bill. And then I have some concerns about how we're messaging it. So just flagging that, noted that, you know, that was where I participated in the meeting, was talking about that. Were you on the,
Yeah,
you were on energy committee? Yeah.
No, I wasn't, sorry, no, I wasn't on energy committee. I was curious about the energy committee. Did they talk at all about how that morning 20,000 customers in Seattle lost electric, had a power outage? Or was that night? Just curious.
Probably not.
No,
Seattle City Light.
yeah, they had like 20,000 customers. Yeah, I was just wondering, because I mean, I don't know, it was just a headline that I'd read.
Oh, I didn't even catch
I
that.
read the news when I wake up first thing in the morning.
Was it a
Yeah.
short blackout though?
Yeah, but it, you know, it was really hot that day. So I was just wondering if it was like, you know, from
Do you know
people
if it's
using
Valpo?
their air
the outage?
conditioners. Mm-mm. Nope. I would have thought they talked about it in energy committee.
well.
That's why I'm curious.
So I mean, if it came up, I don't specifically recall, I mean, I definitely that subject around concern about.
Berlin blackouts and brownouts.
Blackouts was definitely talked about, so that it might have been referred to, and I just hadn't read that news. It was. I mean, that was the idea, you know what, I think, what I understand the challenge of maintaining, of balancing load when you have with more and more intermittent power sources. I feel like there's a lot being left out around vulnerabilities that come from relying on gas thermal generation in a bottlenecked gas supply system that is where you have also competing with direct service natural gas utilities and other uses, as well as, the power plants, in a situation where you have some kind of unexpected disaster in a cold snap or winter storm. Those kinds of things have led to major blackouts, like in Texas, or in other places where, there's this other side to grid reliability that comes with that. And I think it's often talked about like intermittents are the only challenge, and gas is a surefire, always perfect thing, which it just isn't.
But that's why we need to put the pressure on getting our geothermal plant streamlined, because it is baseload electric, right?
Well,
Like it
yeah.
is a resource that is consistent. People would just work faster.
Yeah, I think that's agreed across the board. We need baseload, we need more baseload, we need.
So we need more generation of all sorts.
All sorts is like, I think, agreed
Right.
across the board, as well as, all other ways of improving the efficiency of demand response and conservation. And, there was, but yeah, we need more generation. I mean, that was definitely talked about in Waputa, and also at, I attended the Pacific Northwest Economic Region Conference just for the afternoon yesterday, and there was a panel with folks from utilities, Seattle City Light and Puget Sound Energy, a Montana utility, and someone with a private firm, and they were talking about all the same stuff, and how there's this rapidly expanding demand for power, greater than was recently, foreseen even a couple of years ago. PSE is trying to massively build out more, expand their load and operations there. And everyone was talking about, just the need to move faster and speed things up in the planning and permitting and bringing these resources online. And at the same time, there being competition with the private sector in big tech that can actually move a lot faster than utilities can, for a lot of reasons, and are in direct competition to, they want to meet the demand one way or the other. And, they can, so as far as like how plants come online and who's going to own them and operate them and all of that is, there's some private sector competition in that as well, just in getting projects. So there's that was all talked about. And what else? I mean, I don't know, I'd probably go on, but I also attended a panel on sustainable aviation fuel. Something also, we may play a role in. I know BP's project on that was put on pause, but talking about trying to, there's some industry-wide goals to meet like 5% of aviation fuel from biofuel sources by sometime between like 2030 and 2050. So it's not like, it's kind of it's TBD, but long range. And then there's like power to liquids also, which, are super energy intensive and expensive at this point, but is an emerging field. And once, if we have cheap, abundant power, a lot of things become possible that weren't before. But there's also a panel on the Pacific Northwest Hydrogen Hub, and I was able to talk to some folks from the hub about that, as well as ALA, and I'm surprisingly optimistic about it. I've kind of had the sense that, this whole thing was going south with the passage of the Big Beautiful Bill, but
We have to call
It,
That's a thing.
what, yeah, well, I think officially they struck the title and it was just called like the act or something,
Oh.
but yeah, as it's known, the, you know, yeah, I mean, I guess I was curious, because I've been kind of hearing how, you know, things are still in a pause, things are not assured, but, basically, I mean, in order to qualify for the tax credit, they would have to, ALA would have to, be in construction by the end of 2027. And, with, you know, where they're at in planning and then the permitting timeline, I mean, it doesn't seem like super realistic, but others in the hub seem to think that they have a, you know, they still, just given their position, they still they have a shot. And the project isn't by no means canceled, and overall there's other hub projects that are still going forward, and things are continuing, so I don't know how much of it is like they got investors in the room and they're trying to paint a pretty picture, but you know.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah. But no, ALA is still, you know, they're still serious about it, so, and, yeah, geothermal's talked about a bit too, like cross-border, you know, just general cross-border issues, I wasn't there for too much, but I'd say it was still, you know, worthwhile to go down and, talk to me, make some connections, and it's interesting, you know, because that organization spans like, you know, northern Canada, Alaska to Montana, and they, you know, this is only once in a while they're going to be in our neck of the woods having the conference. So, and Waputa was there tabling and, you know, had a strong presence. I think they had the funnest outreach table with like a little game thing and prizes, and they were drawing people in. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
really good swag, actually.
Yeah.
They have really good swag.
I like good swag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That's my
That's your
long,
report.
sorry, that was a long report,
That's
but yeah,
great.
I think you kind of have the time today.
Okay,
Uh,
well, if there's nothing else, we'll move to public comment. And it doesn't look like there are any hands raised. There's no public in the room. So, and there's no executive session. So it is 10:07 and we will adjourn this meeting.